Happy Victory Monday, Broncos Country. First one of the season. Denver went to Tampa, knocked off the undefeated Buccaneers by a lot, 26-7. A great performance on offense and defense. So we're going to talk about some of the big news and rumors coming out of this win, including a potential trade or at least a benching for a starter to know. So before we get to all that good stuff, if you are enjoying your water cooler talk today at work, at school, wherever you are, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get to 500 likes for Victory Monday, number one of the season. Now let's talk about what's been a growing topic in Broncos country, Javonte Williams, and what the Broncos should do at the running back position and whether or not they should trade Javonte Williams because, well, to be honest, you're not getting anything out of him. I mean, through 3 weeks so far, Javonte Williams has just been, I wouldn't even say doing cardio because he's not even running that far. I mean, 23 yards, 17 yards, 12 yards. He is truly getting almost worse as the season goes on. Now, there's a fair amount of blame that can get placed on the offensive line at times, but when I watch Tyler Badie, and yeah, Badie, we'll talk about that later on, run for 70 yards with 13 snaps on offense, I'm inclined to go, maybe it's not all on the offensive line, and maybe we just have a Javonte Williams problem. I was a big believer of Williams going into the season, but if I can see it, then you should be able to see it too. It's not working for Javonte Williams. This entire running back room is just kind of treading by in terms of finding the hot hand, and right now the hot hand belongs to the somewhat out of nowhere guy, Tyler Badie, who, yeah, it's not Badie, and we'll talk about it in a second, but he was dominant against the Buccaneers in a very small sample size, 9 carries, 73 yards, had that long 43-yard run in the second half. There was a lot of really good stuff coming out from Badie's camp. Javonte, not so much. So for me, I feel like it is time to make a change at the running back position. Denver should explore a new option and ultimately just close the book on Javonte Williams. I don't know if his entire career went up in smokes because of the injury in Las Vegas or if he was just maybe never going to be a great running back in this league, but I can tell you right now, he doesn't deserve the amount of snaps he's getting. He's leading the running back room in snaps, and he's putting out 5 carries for 12 yards. So for me, I'm ready to move on from Javonte Williams and roll with the hot hand, which is Tyler Badie. And yeah, it's not Badie anymore. It was at one point. Andrew Mason shared a picture of the pronunciation guide from week 2, which clearly says Badie. And then in week 3, I suppose he went to the PR guy and said, hey, if you don't mind, it's actually pronounced Badie. So we've got a Japanese toilet as our running back, and it's awesome. Badies are great. So let's roll with Tyler Badie in week 4. I feel like this is the right move for Denver to make because the ground game has been so bad that Bo Nix, as a rookie, is looking like a rookie. And he was really good in week 3, and we'll talk about him more in a little bit here. But overall, the running back room has been extremely underwhelming, and that's not helping the cause with a rookie quarterback who's trying to settle in. And rookie quarterbacks are going to make rookie mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. That's the price of doing business with a rookie QB. But we can soften the blow a little bit in that department by having a strong running game for him to lean on. Bo Nix did not have that for the first 2 weeks, and I think it really showed, right, with him being underwhelming and the team going 0-2. Then you get a little bit of a spark from Badie, and he's not the sole reason why they won or why Bo Nix looked better, but it definitely helped. We can say that for sure. It definitely helped. So when it comes to Javonte Williams, do you think Denver should trade him? It sounds a lot easier said than done. In order to trade Javonte Williams, you have to find a trade partner. After 3 weeks, what team is calling for Javonte Williams, right? Think about it this way. If Javonte Williams was on your fantasy football team, which one of your buddies are you convincing to trade for him? I don't think there's many suitors lining up at the door right now. But maybe there is one GM out there that thinks, you know what, we feel like he's still a really talented player. He needs a change of scenery. It's just not working in that offense in Denver, but he'll be a plug-and-play guy with us, and we're a little bit banged up at running back. I don't know who that team is, but if Denver can find that team, they should go with that team. The Broncos should explore trading Javonte Williams. He's on the last year of his contract, so it doesn't look like he's on the path to return in 2025. So if you can get something for him right now, I would do it. It's not going to be a whole lot. It's probably going to be a 7th or a 6th round draft pick, but it's better than nothing. So if he's going to just sit on the bench for the rest of the year because he's clearly, I would say, looking like the worst of the 3 running backs on this active roster at the moment, yeah, a 7th round pick doesn't sound too sexy, but it sounds a lot better than a whole lot of nothing, which it looks like they're getting out of Javonte Williams at the moment anyway. We're going to talk about Bo Nix and some other players from Week 3 in just a moment, but a quick shout out to our sponsor today, Factor. Meet your wellness goals thanks to Factor's chef-crafted meals with Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and keto options. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make your day delicious. From breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Plus, keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Head to factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 and use code BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code BroncosChat50 at factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Let's talk about Bo Nix, because when you have a rookie quarterback, they are going to be the headline after every single game. What we saw from Bo Nix in Week 3 was the best performance of his entire season so far. 3 games in, and this was definitely number 1 by a mile. For starters, he didn't turn the ball over. That was a huge step in the right direction, because the previous 2 games, 4 total interceptions, 1 at the end, so I don't even really count that one. So 3 interceptions in my book, and all 3 were just bad interceptions. It's not like they were tip balls or something, but Bo Nix was much smarter with the football. He was much quicker to get the ball out, right? It looked like Denver really reshaped their plan and strategy going into Week 3, and they executed it, right? The ball was on time, it was on target, and it moved quickly. He wasn't holding on to it for too long. He wasn't putting himself in a sticky situation where you take a bad sack or you try to force a pass because you feel like the timer's running out on you. Bo Nix in Week 3 arguably had the best game of any rookie quarterback this year. Right, we've got 3 rookies starting: Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. All 3 have played a combined 8 games. Jaden Daniels will play game number 9 tonight. Caleb Williams had a really good game on the box score against the Colts. A couple of touchdowns. He moved the ball down the field, but he also had some mistakes, some bad interceptions and whatnot. But again, rookie quarterbacks, I think they can get a little bit of a longer leash. But Bo Nix, I think, definitely played his best game. That's not a hot take by any stretch, and I was really encouraged by what I saw out of him. But also, from what we saw to Sean Payton, right, that was a team that was 0-2 going on the road to an undefeated team. And you can make it a good, fair point that the Broncos were staring at 0-3 in the face, only to come out of that game and have another road game on the East Coast with the New York Jets, who come off a nice win against the Patriots on Thursday night. So they get added rest before Denver plays their second straight road game. But a gutsy win by the Broncos, and a win that you felt like Denver had to have if they wanted to have really any hope of going anywhere this season. Now let's switch gears and talk about the Broncos defense against the Bucs offense. This was a Bucs offense that was kind of flying high the first 2 weeks, right? They knock off the Commanders at home to open up the season. They go to Detroit, put up 20 points on Aiden Hutchinson and company, which is a solid defense, but nothing crazy, nothing to write home about, but still, they were completely stifled by this Denver defense. 7 sacks being led by this guy. Who? DeAndre Tillman. Who? Guy was playing in some spring league football a few months ago, and he's got 2 sacks in his first game for the Broncos. He got added to the roster after Mike McGlinchey was placed on injured reserve and Baron Browning out with a foot injury, and he only plays 20 snaps. That's about 35% of the game, and he made every single snap count. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. So really impressive stuff from a guy that no one knew who even was going into this week. And then also, I just want to show some love and highlight Brandon Jones. His best game as a Bronco by far. I mean, this was Denver's, bunny ears here, splash free agent signing. You know what I mean? 6 tackles, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup, and a clutch fumble recovery to really put this game away at the end of the fourth quarter. And Brandon Jones coming out of this, the only thing he really had to say was, should have been a pick 6. Like, when you got a guy like that with that type of mentality that has a great play but isn't satisfied, that's a player that's going to quickly become a fan favorite. Denver's defense, though, altogether was elite against Baker and the Bucs. Pat Surtain answered the call after a slow start for his standards, right? He's got very high standards because he is the best cornerback in football. So when you don't look like number one, you're going to get called out a little bit. And Pat Surtain just completely stuffed Mike Evans. Put him in his pocket. 2 grabs, 17 yards. Riley Moss gives up 1 touchdown to Chris Godwin on a short end zone fade. No big deal. Riley Moss played well. The entire defense, I thought, played very well. 7 sacks altogether. Loved what I saw from this Denver defense in a game where, hey, it would have been understandable if they maybe didn't come out flying on the road against Baker and the Bucs, who have been rolling through the first 2 weeks. But they completely answered the call of like, hey, do we want to be an 0-3 team or do we want to be a team that's fighting for a playoff spot? And it was a gut check win for Denver, and they came through. All right, before we let you guys get on out of here, I do want to show some quick love to the Blue and Orange Club. Slap Yourself, I Don't Give a Buck, Mrs. I Don't Give a Buck, and then John E. for being big, loyal supporters of the channel. If you want to get shout-outs, hang out with us during our watch parties, $100 super chat, and we'll add your name to the club.